Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to follow on my Twitch, please. This is where we have daily content. In Escape from Tarkov, this game will punish your mistakes. So here are some not so common beginner tips in 2026. If you apply these, your survival rate will go from 30% upwards to 50 to 70%. So most players don't realize that there's a sorting table above your stash. This sorting table is basically free space. The idea behind it is that you could shove your items into the sorting table, and then you can then sort your stash out easier with having more space to do so. But the idea is that this isn't like free space. You will have to put the items back. So whatever gets put into the sorting table needs to go back into your stash. But here's something that a lot of people don't know about the sorting table is it's infinite. You could just keep going and going. Same thing with this direction. You could just keep going and going. The idea behind this is that it'll allow you to make more use of your stash. So some of the ideas that I'm going to be presenting to you is something like this. You have some weapons that you're trying to make more space with. Go ahead and move them into your sorting table, and then go ahead and now you're able to freely pull the parts off. You're able to have as much space as you need to do what you're doing, and then when time comes, well, you can move the items back into your stash here. Some of the main reasons why this matters is that it allows you to manage your stash in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you only have this much space to work with. So this is a feature that generally goes unknown to the player base, and this is going to be a multi-step, tip. If you hold the button R and then you use your scroll wheel on your mouse, you'll be able to select the exact magazine that you're wanting to use. The idea behind this is let's say the magazine that's currently in has like some of my high penetration ammo, which is more for PMC fighting. Let's say I want to slam one of these other mags in that has a more of a flesh damage or a lighter penetration. Well, now I'm able to do so. I could put my green tips in there, and then if I wanted to put my other one back in, well, it went to the back. So let's go ahead and put that mag straight back in. So the idea behind that is that if you are fighting players, and if you are planning on fighting scavs as well, which generally that's the case, you don't really want to use just armor piercing rounds on your scavs, because most scavs are only going to have at maximum level 4 armor. So generally speaking, if you can use your better ammos for your PMC fights, and you can use your less penetration or more flesh damage for your scav fighting. Sorry, there's a person over here sneaking up on me. Now, the other thing I wanted to teach you guys here, as we're not going to die to this fight, is that you could do a quick reload by pressing R twice. The idea behind this is if you're in a gunfight and the slow reload really isn't the option, well, you can do a fast reload, which drops your mag. Here's a normal reload. He'll put the mag in his pocket, then he'll put the new mag in. Here's a fast reload where he drops the mag entirely and he just slams the new mag in. So the other thing I was wanting to show you guys is that same thing with the hold the R button. For meds, if you go over your med and you highlight it with a button press, all you gotta do is put your mouse over it, and you could press 4, you could press 5, whatever the case is. But while doing this, if you hold the heal button and you use the scroll wheel also, you could heal a very specific item. For an example, if I wanted to heal my stomach, or if I wanted to heal my head very specifically, I could do that. Now, the other thing that's important here is that with that same method, I can do a full treatment at the top here. I can scroll, to either, part of my body. At the very bottom is the X if you didn't mean to press it. But if I wanted to heal all of my body all at once, the game will allow you to do that as well without having it be selected in the menu. Now I want to take a turn down to another tip. Something that you want to do extremely early game is scavs drop this keychain at any point in the game, but something like this early on is going to allow you to bring keys to open up quest doors, to open up rooms that can make you money, marked keys, keys that have safes behind them. For a quick example, this Gingy key here, I could load it with some customs keys, like as an example, 4 rooms that have safes, and then I'm able to make a bunch of money off of this one key. These safes here can spawn things such as bitcoins, it can spawn little statues, the roller watches, the little books and diaries and whatnot, these little flash drives, SSDs, SASs. This key tool is going to make you millions. So as fast as you can get your hands on one of these, the better. And as I may not have mentioned, scavs will drop these, so anytime you kill a scav early game, go check their pockets, go check their bags. You may want to find one of these as early as you can. So all in all, this Gingy key tool, it may be only a 4 slot, but it'll allow you to carry multiple keys without filling your pockets or your pouch. And as I mentioned, early wipe, this thing is huge for things like customs questing, customs money making, shoreline questing, and shoreline money making. Now, one thing I want to mention is the lucky Scav Box. Yes, this is something that you can get your hands on as early as level 1 therapists. As you can see, it is 1.1 million rubles, which yes, that is a big purchase. But if you're only going to buy at least one expensive item for your stash early game, make it this item right here. This item in particular can hold all your barter items. It can hold all your, in quotations, junk items. The idea behind it is that once you fill this box up and then you go ahead and offload all of your loot, you're going to make your money back. And then the other idea with this is that you're able to start storing items that you're going to need for future uses, for your stash, for your quests. You guys get the picture here, for crafting items inside your safe house. That's the whole purpose of these boxes. But once you have one early game, you're going to be making millions. And this thing, it pays for itself. Now, one of everyone's favorite things, the docs case. You can get one of these fairly early also from Therapist. Therapist level 2 here, as you can see, you can get yourself a docs case. And if you guys remember what we was telling you earlier about that Gingy key, if you were to use this on something like, let's say, customs, the Gingy key that is, you could easily find the items that it requires to trade for the documents case. These cat statues spawn inside safes. These lion statues, you know, they are inside safes as well. And the same thing with these horse statues. So the idea is if you're able to get yourself a Gingy, you know, tool off of a scav, and then with that Gingy key tool, you're able to gather these items from the safes, well then you can get yourself a documents case. Now, documents cases aren't necessarily just meant for keys. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about here. Let me go ahead and open my documents case. You can store a whole slew of things in here. You know, case in point, you could store books, intel, storage devices, money. As you can see here, there's money in here, flash drives. This thing is going to make its money back regardless of how you're looking at it. You could fill this thing to the brim with keys. You could fill it with bitcoins. You could fill it with guitar picks if I had any. Sadly, I don't have any, so I can't show you that necessarily at the moment, but you guys should get the picture. And maps can fit inside here. I don't have any of those either, so sorry for bringing it up, but there's a whole slew of things that you can fit inside here, and I would utilize this as early as you can, because as you can see here, this thing's going to make its money back. If you were to go ahead and sell these items, you'd make a couple $100,000. So with this demonstration, I wanted to talk about the right angle peaks. The difference between a right angle peak is this is a right angle peak, and this would be your left angle peak. The idea behind this is that this game does favor the right angle peak. When you're peeking from this angle, you expose much less of your body, your gun, your head, your arms, everything. But if I were to peek from this direction, I'm exposing a lot more body, you know, legs, arms, whatever the case, right? Granted, these are just scavs, but we're going to try and give you some demonstrations here. Okay, so we got a scav here, and a scav here. Okay, so the idea here is if I'm going to do a left angle peek, and then a right angle peek, the right angle peek's already, you know, I've got less exposure in total. This peek here, majority of my body's hanging out the left. So you notice how I'm mostly trained to peek right angles, but this one I didn't have a chance. Had to do a left angle. This one will be a left angle. So you guys get the idea here. But what's most important about the left angle peek is that you can swap arms. When you swap arms, this allows you to do a right angle peek from the left angle. Granted, it's not perfect, but it is still really good. And try to make that a button that you're going to be able to press very easily. You're going to be swapping from right and left, you know, numerous amounts of times. So for this next part, I want to talk about bringing good gear. If you're saving all the stuff that you find, the armor plates, the guns, the armor, you know, vests, the armored rigs, it's not going to save you because you're not using it. The better armor and the better helmets are going to increase your survival, which means more XP, more money, more gameplay, and more getting better at the game.
Cover your ass.
Might want to run when you can, buddy. The next important tip I want to go over is the ammo types, because the ammo types matter more than the guns. So I wanted to show just a little bit of this ammo chart here, and there's two parts I'm going to be showing you, so, you know, please bear with me here. I wanted to show some common ammos like 9mm. As you can see here, you start with M882, which is pretty far down in the list already. Things like PST can be found on scavs, same thing with the tracers and the PSOs and whatnot. These can all be found on scavs, but the idea is that your ammo that you start out with really isn't too bad. Same thing here with some of the 45 ammos. Some of these you can find, both of these laser match FMJs. Both of these can be easily found on scavs, just anywhere in the world. Same thing with the AP rounds. These are really, really good. Then I wanted to come down to the 366 because this is something that majority of players will come across. Majority of the scavs will probably have FMJ and Gesha, but then there's some instances where they'll have EKO, and EKO is pretty good bullet, so, you know, just trying to give you some heads up here. On the flip side, 545s are probably your most common weapon, which have some of the most, you know, ammo types around. Majority, you're going to probably be getting PS from scavs, and PS is right about in the middle. PS is pretty good if you end up finding, you know, FMJ, tracers, or even US ammo. All these are fairly good for early raids, but once it comes to late, you know, Tarkov wipe, you're going to only want to be using like 7.4 and above. Now, the second part of this, I wanted to show you guys in-game how you can access and see your ammo values. For an example, for green tip, if you click into the bullet, it'll show you the damage, and it'll also show you the penetration on the right. This is something that not very many people tell you, but there's a little drop-down arrow here that'll actually show you what armor plates it's capable of piercing. With this info in mind, you can then gauge what bullets that you're wanting to bring with you. So the next thing I want to talk about is the looting XP. There's looting XP, and then there's also searching XP. Let me guys show you a quick example. When I interact with anything, I'm going to get looting XP, or searching XP at the bottom. Then once I grab items, I'm going to start getting the looting XP. The idea behind this is that instead of just getting just the littlest amount of XP, every item I'm grabbing is going to allow me to get more XP from it. And take all of his goodies here, get a couple extra XP per item. And then we'll show you that same thing inside one of these bags. Once you search one of these bags, you're going to get a search XP, as you can see here. 15 plus 5 plus another 5. And then if I were to start taking these items, I get the looting XP, as you can see here. So that will allow you to start gaining yourself extra XP inside raids. And for our last tip here, I just wanted to talk about some menu, you know, little stuff here. Something that a lot of players don't really, you know or even are told is that you can rotate your items in the menu here by holding the item and then hitting the R button. This can save you, you know, an immense amount of inventory space, considering most of the time when you put a gun in your inventory, it's going to go sideways, not vertically, vertically for the most part can save you more space for gun, storage as an example. The other thing I wanted to mention was ammo, splitting. It's not necessarily just ammo, but any items that you can stack like this, you're able to split. And the way by doing it is by clicking the item, holding control, and then dragging it to a new slot. When you release, it's going to allow you to split that item. You have a little bar here that you can use, or you can manually type in, whatever value that you're looking for. With these 10 tips stacked together, they can make Tarkov a lot less punishing. If this video has helped you in any capacity, please like the video, subscribe to me, let me know which one was most helpful to you in the comment section, and good luck in your raids. Thanks for watching. Someone else just got in.